Thanks for the invitation. So let's go back to the basis. Once daily oral available DAA, what it can do. So the slightly different topic, the title here, efficacy of ALG 00184 across patient cohorts in E positive and E negative. So I'll call 184 in the following presentation. This is my very short disclosure. Okay, so you all know about the nucleoside. It's very safe, it's very good to suppress the viral replication. However, we know with the advanced technology, even though after 2 years treatment, there's around 70% that underlying HBV replication can be detected. So I will show the data later on. So with ALG-184, actually in the first mode of action, because in the upstream of the replication, it has a deeper HBV DNA suppression, and also it suppresses HBV RNA. So we do hope with this faster and deeper suppression can provide the additional benefit for the patient long-term outcome. More importantly, at least in preclinically, the second mode of action is inhibited the formation of cccDNA. By inhibiting this, actually you can reduce not the DNA, RNA, on top of that, all the antigen as E-correlated antigen, which I will show you the data in the following presentation. So let's talk something about the 184. Actually, initial molecule is in-licensing from Dr. Shinazi. So from Emory University, the team has worked very hard to improve both the potency, the PK, and the selectivity. So we went to a clinical trial. The part 1, part 2 is very classical. First in human, you dose in healthy volunteer, 500 milligram single dose, 250 milligram in healthy volunteer multiple dose, well tolerated. You will see a PK slide in a minute. In the part 3 is a typical proof of concept. So 28-day treatment, both in E positive and E negative, currently non-treated subject, double blind, 4:1, 28-day. We'll see the safety, PK, and efficacy. Part 1 and 2, I don't show any data here. They are well tolerated, no any SAEs, the perfect linear dose-dependent PK. I'll show you part 3 now. So as scientists, I love this slide. It's a perfectly dose-proportional PK. You can measure by linear layer. It's excellent. So this is really like in textbook PK. This is number 1. And number 2, actually the variation is very low. So we are very happy about it. Because some compounds have high variation, the variation is within 20%. And third thing is the half-life, 12 to 16 hours, is for the QD dosing. And after dosing, you can see here, there's no accumulation, or minimal accumulation. So there's all support. You can dose long with drug, no, without any concern. So this slide is a little small. You have to trust me what I'm saying here. If you look about the HBV DNA part, so we dose 10, 50, and 100 milligram in the E-negative subject. So long story short, about over 80% of the subject in 4-week treatment, they become HBV DNA negative. In other words, less than 10 international units per ml. And we say, okay, how about the E positive? We know they have a much higher baseline. So we dose 10, 100 milligram, and 300 milligram in E positive subject there. We were very surprised, or the positive surprise, 10 milligram has equally HBV DNA reduction compared to 100 and 300 milligram. In another word, 10 milligram achieved the maximum first mode of action already. So, and we've looked at HBV RNA, very similar picture. It looks slightly different curve here, but due to a different baseline. Short summary, in E negative, in 4 weeks, all of them become HBV RNA negative. And due to a different baseline, in E positive, they have between 2 to 4 log HBV RNA reduction in the 4 weeks treatment. Based on this encouraging data, And then people are asking why you pick the 300 milligram for your phase 1b longer treatment. So short summary, because 300 milligram can engage the so-called second mode of action. There's a part 4 of this study that's quite unusual for phase 1 study. It's up to 96-week treatment. So we have a so-called part 4, cohort 2, that's a China-only cohort. First 12 weeks is double-blind placebo control, is 184 plus entecavir versus placebo plus entecavir for 12 weeks. Then after 12 weeks, we unblinded, become so open label, and for the control arm, we add on 184 to see what will happen. First 12 weeks nucleoside entecavir, then add on 184, what additional benefit you can see there. And actually, when we go back to FDA said, oh, if you want to chronic suppression, you have to do the monotherapy. And as we know, previous Olacan, they failed, they generate mutation during monotherapy. And we pick the 300 milligram because we know based on the PK, based on preclinical data, probably you can suppress all possible mutation, what we know from the preclinical. So let's first look at the E-positive cohort in the DNA suppression. Let's focus first on the orange line versus the black line. So orange line is entecavir only, and the black line is 300 milligram plus entecavir. So you can see number one, in 12 weeks, there's a difference on the DNA suppression. So the entecavir alone is a 4 log something there, and if you add on 184, you get additional 1.6 log. So there's the first 12 weeks. And as I mentioned there in the orange line, we add on 184, actually they catch up very fast. The DNA suppression is equally to the 184 plus entecavir for all along. That's one thing, and we want to know how this compare the monotherapy versus combination with entecavir. So the 300 milligram is the black line plus entecavir. The blue line is 300 milligram monotherapy. You can see actually entecavir doesn't contribute anything on the DNA suppression or DNA reduction. So in other words, 184 alone can achieve a very good viral DNA reduction. Here we have two different graphics. On the left-hand side, what I will show you is the monotherapy up to 72 weeks. In the green star, you see when a subject can achieve HBV DNA below 10 international unit. So in week 48, we have around 6 out of 10, and in week 72, we have a 9 out of 10 achieve it. On the right-hand side, actually, for the scientists, I like it because it's so-called a swimmer plot. You can see how does the baseline impact the subject to achieve HBV DNA undetectable. And it's very logic. They have a higher baseline, it takes longer when HBV DNA can achieve undetectable. And if you look at the HBV RNA, it's probably even easier to explain the E-positive subject. So the orange line, entecavir alone, doesn't reduce any HBV RNA. When you add on 184, boom, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, HBV DNA, HBV RNA reduced. And there's, again, no difference between 184 plus entecavir versus 184 monotherapy. In other words, entecavir doesn't contribute anything on the HBV RNA reduction. Let's look at the monotherapy on the E-negative subject. So again, here's probably even faster. As we know, the baseline is lower. So actually, all the subjects by week 20, the HBV DNA become undetectable with current technology here. And then we go one step farther. So the so-called AASLD, the detection limit, 4.92. And by week 48, so 10 out of 11, they below 4.92. So this just tell you that they continue going down. So, and the more data we'll show at the ESO at this conference, at the AASLD this conference, sorry about that. Okay, HBV RNA in the E-negative subject, even easier. All subjects should be HBV RNA negative at week 6. So it's very fast DNA and RNA reduction. And people are asking, how does this compare to the historic data to the nucleoside? So it's not head-to-head study that we know. And we use the literature report data from the TOUGH study, registration trial from phase 3. So they do report the E negative and the E positive. So they reported 48 weeks and 96 weeks data. Let's look at an E negative subject. So we all know this wonderful data, over 90% HBV DNA undetectable, but actually this use less sensitive technology. The ALQ is 29 international unit per mil. If it's more advanced, the 10, you can see it drop over 70%. If from 93% to 17 or 21%. And you say, okay, they just need longer. So if you report the 96-week data, 30%, this is what I mean there, they say 70% of subjects, even in the lower baseline, they still detectable HBV DNA. If you E positive, actually the number even looks more surprising or the worse. So in the week 48, they only report the less than 29. So it's around 67, 64%. And as I mentioned, if you compare to 1F, it's 10 out of 10. They didn't even report under 10 because they cannot achieve it. And in this case, 1F was 6 out of 10. But they do report in the week 96. As you can see, in week 96, after 2 years treatment, only 9 or 14% they can achieve HBV DNA below 10 international unit per mil. So let's just tell you the difference between 1A4 versus the nucleoside. That's the first mode of action. Let's look at our second mode of action. So that's what we have in the E positive subject. So this is what you see, that's the mean value. We pool the E positive subject with Entecavir and the monotherapy. As you can see here, the S antigen drop first 36 very well, then become kind of plateau. The mean value is 1 log drop. Just keep in mind, it's oral drug once daily, no injection, nothing there. And the second thing, then if you look at, okay, how about the E and core antigen? It still continue to decline. And as I say, the 72 weeks, they have around 2 logs decline of E and correlated antigen. And the new data you will see on Friday. So it's interesting. And the other thing we show at the ESO here, actually you can see the blue line is the E antigen, the orange line is antibody. We see significant E antigen decline and E antibody going up. So safety is important. So we show here in general, there's no SAE, there's no any discontinuation due to a drug.
Can you summarize, please, because you're over 3 minutes?
Okay, so they are very well tolerated. Long story short, the drugs well tolerated, the picomolar potency, good PK, and everything I showed in phase 1, we are doing the combination study with interferon to demonstrate how 1A4 can contribute to functional cure. We are on the way to prepare for the phase 2 study. Thank you.